Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Every February 14th, the world seems to explode in a flurry of red hearts, chocolates, and roses. But have you ever stopped to wonder where Valentine's Day actually comes from? Is it just a holiday created by greeting card companies? Or is there something more? Well, the story is far more complex, ancient, and a little bit darker than you might think. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfy, and let's travel back in time to uncover the true history of Valentine's Day. Our journey begins in ancient Rome, long before any saints or greeting cards. Here, from February 13th to the 15th, the Romans celebrated a wild and chaotic festival called Lupercalia. This wasn't a romantic candlelit dinner. Lupercalia was a fierce, pagan fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, the Roman god of agriculture, and to the legendary founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. The festival was held at the base of the Palatine Hill, in a sacred cave where it was believed the twin infants were cared for by a she-wolf or The rites were led by a special order of priests, the Luperci. They would begin by sacrificing a goat for fertility and a dog for purification. Then, two of these priests, anointed with the sacrificial blood, would run through the city streets, laughing. They carried strips of goat hide, called febra, and they would gently whip any woman who came near. It sounds bizarre to us, but Roman women welcomed this, believing it would make them more fertile and ensure an easy childbirth. Lupercalia was also a time for matchmaking. Young unmarried men would draw the names of women from a large urn, and that couple would be paired for the duration of the festival, and sometimes these pairings led to love and marriage. So, while it wasn't romantic in our modern sense, Lupercalia was deeply connected to fertility, matchmaking, and the coming of spring. So how did we get from that chaotic scene to the Valentine we know today? The transition begins with the rise of Christianity. By the end of the 5th century, the Roman Empire had become largely Christian, and the Church was actively working to stamp out pagan traditions. Pope Gelasius I officially banned Lupercalia, calling it unchristian. It's widely believed that around this same time, the Church established St. Valentine's Day on February 14th as a deliberate attempt to Christianize the pagan festival. But who was this St. Valentine? Well, that's where the story gets a bit murky, because there wasn't just one. The Catholic Church actually recognizes at least 3 different saints named Valentine or Valentinus, all of whom were martyred. One of the most popular legends is about a priest named Valentine who served in Rome during the 3rd century. The emperor at the time, Claudius II, had outlawed marriage for young men. He believed that single men made better, more focused soldiers than those with wives and families. But Valentine saw this decree as unjust. Defying the emperor, he continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. When his actions were discovered, Claudius ordered that he be put to death. Another popular story suggests that Valentine might have been killed for helping Christians escape harsh Roman prisons where they were often tortured. This version of the legend says that while imprisoned himself, Valentine fell in love with a young girl, possibly his jailer's daughter, who visited him during his confinement. Before his death, it's alleged that he wrote her a letter signed "From your Valentine," an expression that we still use today. While the truth behind these legends is lost to time, they all paint a picture of a heroic, sympathetic, and, most importantly, a romantic figure. This image was exactly what was needed to transform a pagan rite into a Christian day of remembrance. For hundreds of years, Valentine's Day remained a fairly low-key, religious feast day. The real shift towards romance began in the Middle Ages, and we have poets to thank for that. The first recorded association of Valentine's Day with romantic love appears in 1382 in a poem by Geoffrey Chaucer. the author of the Canterbury Tales. In his poem Parliament of Foolays, or Parliament of Fowls, he wrote about the common belief that on February 14th, birds choose their mates for the year. He wrote, "For this was on St. Valentine's Day, when every bird comes there to choose his mate." This single line captured the imagination of European nobility, and soon, nobles began writing romantic notes to each other around this time. The oldest known Valentine still in existence was a poem written in 1415 by Charles, Duke of Orleans, to his wife while he was imprisoned in the Tower of London following the Battle of Agincourt. He referred to her as his very gentle Valentine. This trend of sending love notes, or valentines, slowly caught on among the literate upper classes. The tradition really exploded during the Victorian era in the 19th century. Thanks to the Industrial Revolution, mass-produced paper cards became affordable, and the postal service became more accessible. Suddenly, everyone could send a valentine. The Victorians went all out. Their valentines were incredibly elaborate creations, decorated with lace, ribbons, silk flowers, and intricate illustrations of cupids, hearts, and birds. They even developed a whole language of flowers, where different blooms carried different secret meanings, allowing senders to express feelings they might be too shy to say out loud. In 1847, an American woman named Esther Howland, inspired by an English valentine she received, started the first mass production of valentines in the United States. She created a thriving business from her home in Worcester, Massachusetts, earning her the title Mother of the American Valentine. By the end of the 19th century, Valentine's Day was firmly established as a major holiday in both Britain and America. The 20th century saw the holiday transform yet again, this time into the commercial giant we know today. In 1913, Hallmark Cards began mass-producing Valentine's Day cards, making it easier than ever to express your feelings. Soon after, other industries jumped on board. Chocolate companies started selling heart-shaped boxes of candy. Jewelers promoted diamonds as the ultimate gift of love, and restaurants offered special romantic dinner packages. Valentine's Day was no longer just about sending a card. It was about buying gifts to prove your affection. Marketing campaigns cemented the association between love and consumer spending, turning February 14th into one of the biggest retail events of the year. Today, Valentine's Day is celebrated all over the world, but with fascinating local twists. In Japan, it's the women who give gifts to men, usually chocolates. But there are different kinds of chocolate for different relationships. There's giri-chako, or obligation chocolate, for male colleagues and friends, and honmai-chako, or true-feeling chocolate, for a romantic partner. A month later, on March 14th, Japan celebrates White Day, when men are expected to return the favor with gifts that are often 2 or 3 times the value of what they received. In South Korea, they have the 14th of every month dedicated to love. After Valentine's Day and White Day, they have Black Day on April 14th, where single people gather to eat jjajangmyeon, a black bean noodle dish, to commiserate their single status. In the Philippines, Valentine's Day is one of the most common wedding anniversaries, with many local governments sponsoring mass wedding ceremonies for hundreds of couples. From a wild pagan festival to a saint's martyrdom, from medieval poetry to Victorian lace and modern commercialism, the story of Valentine's Day is a perfect example of how traditions evolve over time. It's a blend of history, religion, commerce, and, of course, love. So, this year, whether you're celebrating with a partner, friends, or just enjoying some well-deserved chocolate by yourself, you will know that you are retaking part in a tradition that is thousands of years in the making. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something new today. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories behind our favorite traditions. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. See you in the next video.